So whenever we talk about nutrition here at DFS Gym, we always end up talking about gluten-free, organic, and non-GMO foods, what they are and whether they're important or not to start seeing the results that you want to see. Okay, so put very simply, right off the bat, organic is just basically foods that are grown without artificial chemicals and pesticides, okay? And the reason you want to look for organic foods, or you would want to look for organic foods, is just to avoid those pesticides and things like that. Whenever those things are used on your food to make it grow healthier or bigger or brighter, whatever it is, eventually those chemicals get passed on to you because the foods retain those chemicals, right? So when you eat those foods, you then ingest those chemicals too. And basically we don't know what those chemicals do to our bodies. So we don't know if they're causing cancer, if they're causing autism, or all these other diseases that kind of we're afflicted by at this point in time. So we want to, that would be a reason to try it, to avoid those types of those foods and try to eat organic, is to avoid those chemicals. Non-GMO is kind of the same thing. GMO stands for genetically modified organism. So basically what happens with a genetically modified organism is that whoever's growing, if it's produce, whoever's growing it, or an animal, basically they've manipulated the genes in some way that enables that food to grow faster, to grow brighter, to grow bigger, basically just to make the production of that food, that growth of that food, more productive, right? And more appealing to you. Maybe it's sweeter, maybe it looks nicer, that sort of thing, okay? And again, just like with organic, the reason we might want to avoid GMO foods is because we don't know how those different genes are really going to affect our bodies, right? We don't know how ingesting those organisms that have been genetically modified, how that's going to affect our bodies. Same thing, we don't know what kind of diseases it's going to cause, okay? Gluten-free is probably the simplest one. Gluten is basically just a plant protein that's found in wheat and wheat-like grains, right? And basically the reason you would want to avoid gluten products is because you have some type of gluten intolerance. Your body does not digest it correctly, you're allergic to it, right? And it causes all kinds of intestinal problems and digestion problems, and just leaves you feeling really cruddy. So that would be a reason you want to avoid gluten foods and eat gluten-free, right? Pretty much other than that, you're not going to have to worry about gluten-free too much. So the big question is now, do you need to eat those types of foods in order to see the results you want to see? And the simplest answer is no, you do not need to eat organic, gluten-free, non-GMO foods to see the results you want to see, to build muscle, to tone up, to burn some body fat. You do not need to eat those types of foods to do that. What you do need to do in order to see those results is eat whole, unprocessed foods. Now, they don't necessarily have to be organic, but you should be eating lots of fresh fruits and vegetables and lean protein sources and nuts for your fats and things like that, okay? Now, where those non-GMO, where those organic, and where those gluten-free things come in, consider those extra credit, right? Whenever somebody's first starting out on their new diet, their new nutrition program, I don't like to have people go gung-ho right into organic, right into non-GMO and that sort of thing, because most of the time we have to build a good base of whole, unprocessed foods first, okay? And for a lot of people, yes, those non-GMO and organic foods, they are more expensive, right? So in addition to the additional time and money that you're putting into whole, unprocessed foods, you're going to go beyond that with the organic, non-GMO foods. So you have by just going fresh, whole foods right off the bat and not those organic, non-GMO, you're going to save yourself a little bit of money right off the bat. But really the big thing that's going to happen is you're going to allow yourself to emotionally and habitually ramp into those types of foods, okay? But as far as seeing your results in terms of losing body fat and building good muscle, you don't need organic and stuff right off the bat. Is it a good idea later on to move into those types of foods? Absolutely, because we're going to be avoiding those chemicals and those modified organisms that we theorize cause all kinds of diseases that we see in our population now. So is it a good idea in the future to go that route? Yes, but do you need to do it right off the bat? No. Ramp into it, take your baby steps, build good habits along the way. Once you've got those whole food sources under your belt and ready to go, then start to ramp them up, make them organic, and that sort of thing. All right? If you haven't already, make sure you sign up for your free trial with the link down at the bottom of this blog post or in the video description, okay? And if you haven't also already, make sure you sign up for our newsletter in the sidebar or in the link in the video description below. Thanks, guys. See you soon.